Hello, greetings. How are you doing? أهلا وسهلا أهلا وسهلا سهلا وسهلا مفتول. Oh, good. Boy, this life is hard, man. I have to put a lot of energy into my thoughts. Because I guess, I don't know, that's part of the deal, right? If you don't take something serious, more or less, you're not going to be able to put a lot of... you're not able to get your mind to basically in a monopolistic way to apply itself and to have the most awesome output on the matter, right? I don't know. That's another thing. It's short. This wears me out, and I get tired so easily. And I always have these like heated arguments. Yeah. So today is March 20th. And so it's March 20th. I'm in Florida, 2018. And how do you say that? So I was watching this video on YouTube. You probably know them better than I do because they seem like a rather like famous people, and I don't know nothing about them. Shoot, I think it's called. I didn't read the whole thing off. It's called Lutheran Social, something like. That sounds weird, right? No, they're two girls. They're actually very pretty, or they have a great done of putting a lot of awesome makeup on themselves. But that's another subject. Shit, that's so fucked up, right? You see that fucking irony of it, man? Even I'm so fucked, man. I mean, well, I don't know what to say. Because there's a line. The beauty's one thing. Sexuality and sexual thing is another thing. So no, I'm not fucked actually. No, they're pretty. Beauty is one thing, and it should be noticed and it's appreciative. It's just that what is not appreciative is sexuality. So no, I'm not that fucked actually. I was gonna say, I'm even whatever. But no, that's not the case. So yeah, they're pretty girls. How do you say that? And they basically posted this video about, literally for the most part, what they were saying was just like reiterating and reenacting like a basic kind of like a reawakening, like an experience where you start I don't know if you know about this basically or not, but like there was back in 1800s, there was a series of religious reawakening throughout America. They would have like these massive camps they would put together and get people come back basically. And I guess partially still back then people were still feeling it. They had that inclination to come back, and they just took the initiative to try to actually make this happen and try to give them that energy and pump them up to get them back. So it's kind of like a similar thing, and basically they're reenacting, and they're talking about values that perhaps they still exist more or less in a traditional society, like where I come from. For the most part, Iran, for instance. Now here's the thing: when you say traditional society and Iran being a traditional society, that's the thing that I want to discuss. That is, this is the problem. Thanks to the glorious American revolution, and by American Revolution I hope you know what I'm talking about. The global revolution where they managed to brand a new, basically, you know, a new phase where it's all about loosen it up, you know, fucking shit. Yeah, fuck, drink, fuck more, drink more, smoke, and repeat the algorithm till you exhaust yourself and perhaps you die. Just make sure, meanwhile, you have your mind enough together that you also thoughtful of a supply of funding to fund your entertainment and your utility and pleasure. So, how do you say that? Right, so that's the thing. So it's typical, traditional for a lot of people in Iran, and still a lot of youth, they're not like that. And that's the thing that I want to get to, is that here's the thing. What she was there for the most part sort of was saying, she sounded kind of like what you would perhaps find a religious woman in Iran. You know, those women who wear, you know, really tight scarves over their head, not showing any of their hair, and long clothes, and a very conservative, very tight-minded, closed-minded people. Well, I don't. See, here's the thing, when I use the word closed-minded, is that unfortunately there's a correlation between, in Iran, between these people who have these tight religious minds and also their theocratic, you know, mindset about politics and how the society should be run, and basically more being in a manipulistic way of trying to get people to abide and behave in a way that they deem is as appropriate, not necessarily in a how do you say that, in a constructive way, but in a controlling, you know, harsh punishment oriented. But anyway, so yeah, that's the way she was talking. And if nowadays you go to Iran, I'm not saying everywhere, but for the most part, if you start talking like that to an Iranian girl, a young guy, they're gonna just look at your face and be like, right, yeah, sure, man. Well, it was great running to your sister or brother. You know, we had a lot of, we learned a lot from you, and thank you very much for enlightening us. Have a good day. And, you know, basically, they don't really quite think in that department anymore. And I don't know if you know about this shit. It's pretty fucked up, actually. It's been going on for quite some time. There's some things that got into really awful things. Yeah, man, it's not just about bitches and guys craving sex and fucking dressing like sluts and shit like that and all kinds of crap. They now have these parties where they don't just go drinking or doing drugs, but yeah, they actually do a lot of shit in there, man. They fuck with each other, and they do all kinds of crazy things. And right, so, and apparently, I don't know, I guess people are not aware, or the ones who are aware, they don't give a shit, or I don't know. So anyways, these kings in a society like Iran is actually among the youth is losing itself. Now, speaking of that, just so you know, I hope you're aware of this, part of this scenery is not just American influence. Basically, the westernization, or really this promoting this and openness and stuff like that. No, that's not the really. Part of it is also the fact that there's a push and pull factor. You have this rigid, Iranian system, which is loosening up now. That's what I'm trying to say. But push these people to the limit that get them to become this. It was really reverse psychology to tighten up the whole thing so bad and get everybody to, in a controlling, manipulated way, basically, to fuck with their head. So not necessarily, not out of their belief that they or think pleasure, but really out of rebellion start doing that kind of crazy thing. That's what it is. You know what I'm saying? Just to show them fingers saying, "The fuck you, man, I'm not doing this shit." You can do whatever you want to do. As long as I'm breathing, I'm gonna do this shit. So I'm gonna tell you in your face, So that's the thing, partially, which is quite fucked up. But so, well, yeah, I mean, they did a great job of pretty much after the revolution eradicating a lot of these Western things and getting women to, man and woman, basically creating a very rigid system where, I don't know, speaking of human guilt, basically, I mean, I don't know, that's another subject, but it's funny, human psychology is so fucked up, but, and I'm part of that myself also, for the most part. But anyways, so yeah, it's funny. And now you have these two girls, they're visiting Europe, and they have this video, and they talk about how girls basically started off talking how basically it's called trading up. What it is basically, over superficial matters, basically things that they don't have any admissible or permissible, there's no tangible reasoning into it. What's the word? There's no logic into it. It's merely out of whim and fucking stupid stuff, fashion and crap like that. They would just ruin their relationship with some guy. And now it's also true that it's vice versa too. The guys do that too. And I just didn't like the fact that she was actually didn't make any gesture. She didn't point anything at guys doing that too. But primarily she was just talking about the girls having that kind of a behavior. But yeah, that's what they do. And she said, like, they see they know they're in a relationship with some guy, and over stupid stuff like basically finding some guy who's more attractive, or perhaps in some ways basically appeals to them more, interests them more, which is really nothing but mere stupid stuff that don't count. Things that come and go to begin with, and number two, they're stupid either way, just popularity and social media, and like she said, on Instagram, maybe it blows your mind, right? Or basically how other girls are craving them perhaps, and they post their pictures around perhaps, and they swear by it, oh my god, he's so hot, like, fucking crap, what I'm saying? That kind of shit. Or I don't know, all kinds of shit basically, you know what I'm saying? Oh, anyways. I feel so shitty about myself that I'm actually have to call myself part of this human race where there are these bitches, man, who go around dressing like an animal, It's funny, animals are not even like that. The only thing about animals is that, you know, you get engaged with in a, yeah, like a modern human in a very promiscuous relationship where they just fuck around with some random mate, and next thing you know, they're doing it with somebody else. That's one thing about animals, but otherwise, in terms of the way that their appearance is, that, you know, I always say this, funny, you look at animals, for the most part, most of them, they have, their body is covered with fur and hair in a very thick way that you would have a hard time spotting their genitals or their body, basically, you know. So I don't know how a fellow animal, like a dog or cat, really feels if they actually see a female cat or dog when, you know, somehow her body is entirely shaved. But I'm just saying, you know, it's just funny, you know, it's just interesting. You don't see cats, you know, for the most part, any mammals you look at, you know, their body's covered, you know, you don't find, I'm just saying, that's just something to think about. It's just intriguing, I don't know. But anyways, so yeah, they just go around and dress like that, and it's just crazy because there's only a few guys or humans left in the society like me who actually, they think that, you know what, it's not that it's necessarily not a good thing, it's just that, you know, it's one of those things that should be in a discreet, you know, way. It should be in a discreet way. It should be something that is just on a level of intimacy with your own, I don't know, your privacy, your own thing. You know, not something that you just share it with in society, or tons of people who I don't think you have any relationship with them whatsoever are watching you, and you know what they're thinking. They're only thinking about one thing, in case you don't know. They're just thinking about one thing: how can they shake off your pants and stick it inside you? And I say it because, for the most part, that's what it does to my fucking thing in my head. It's just that also, then again, for some reasons, yeah, it's quite a psychological torture. I feel shitty about it because at the end of the day, I don't think it's right. You know, you don't need to show that much of skin to get some guy to like you, if that's your idea. If you're a single girl in a society, and if that's really your opinion, you're really thinking that, oh, you know, at work or at school or in a society, as I'm just walking, you know, I just want to, you know, have this masses of people as a prospect and you know, probable, you know, I just want to market you just want to market yourself to the as much as potential people, so you will have the largest amount of potential you know, so what's that word, you know, potential prospects who will come to you, a large pool of perhaps prospects who will have the opportunity to choose between them. So anyways, that's another subject, but for the most part, oh, what do you say? How do you say that? But trust me, you don't need to do that. You don't need to dress that way to get people to like you. It's really a matter of human mind and relativity that even I at some point think that, yes, yeah, you know what, I'm actually feel more attracted towards a girl who dresses like a slut. It's really relativity. If nobody's doing it, trust me, you know, or you really believe that everybody should not doing it, trust me, how do you say that? Or very, yeah, really, nobody should do it. Wrong is wrong. You just don't do it. When something's wrong, nobody should do it. We don't have such a thing as theft. You're saying, oh, if you steal a few bucks, that's okay. So who cares? You just stole a few bucks, right? You didn't just steal like a couple $1 million, or it's not like when you're trying to steal something from somebody, you also hurt them. You punch them in the face, or you fucking, you stab them or something. You just went to them. I don't know. You just managed to somehow slip your hands in their pocket and grab a few bucks, and nobody got hurt. Nothing happened. So it was only a few bucks, so it's perfectly fine. Versus somebody who, I don't know, walks to the bank and with a gun, maybe even killing a couple of people, manages to steal a nice couple $100,000 or a lot more. No, we don't have that thing. Although I can see how in the head of some of you all who do that kind of other business believe that, well, maybe there is room for argument there too, yes. But no, we don't have that. Wrong is wrong. You just don't do it. There's no such a thing. Certainly there's a different level of punishment that should be related to the extent of your crime should be given to you, and somebody who steals a lot more money in the most awful way should be given a higher punishment for it versus somebody else. But still, it's wrong, and you know what I'm trying to say. Anyways, the worst part is that these things are gotten to the point, and things that we all know by instinct. Well, when we're doing it, we know it's wrong. I don't need to tell you all this thing but it's got to the point that it has become such a threat that I actually have to fight back and try to talk about it. We don't need to, and you're right. This is a stupid thing, We don't need to talk about it, We need to do something about it, Talking doesn't do anything. But how do you say that? Going back to the original subject. Yeah, so these girls were making this video, and it's very interesting. And yeah, that's the thing. I'm not really talking about the effects of it on American society. Funny is that at some point I always say this, you know what? I don't care if Americans, they just want to, like an American man or whoever lives in fucking society, I don't even fucking give a shit. Not that I don't give a shit, but I mean, it would have been more or less okay. You want to do shit? You know what I'm trying to say? You only do it in the shithole. You don't do shitting everywhere around you. That's what I'm trying to say. If America they want to do this kind of shit in a toilet called America, you want every man and woman want to fuck around with whoever they want, right? They want to do whatever crap they want to drink, drugs, fuck, slut, whatever shit, prostitution, whatever crap. If you want to do that, as long as you keep it here within America, that is perfectly fine. Man, you all agree? You think this is okay? You want to do it? You think this is your matter? You should do it? You have to have the right to do it at your discretion or your choice if you want to do it, even though, yes, there's that other side because it's wrong. That's okay. The problem is that you've gone to the point that you've managed to miraculously do such an amazing job of altering the way that the world is functioning and the way other people also believe, and basically you have gone to they have taken it global. That's the problem, and I know the reason for that also, but I've talked about this before. It's not a new thing. Basically, it's a global, invisible, bordered American empire. That's what it is, Yep. So, just to do a great conclusion, like I said, the thing that amazes me is that I'm not talking about how some young boy or girl who grew up within the system in America thinks about what these girls were saying. I'm really talking about how funny is that if you say that to some typical youngster in Iran, a young Iranian kid, they will just, for the most part, give you a fucking ugly face, and they'll show you their finger stuff. You know, you're sick, man. You're stupid. You're sick, and you're trying to fucking. You're a radical. You're trying to fuck with our head. You're trying to bring back the revolution. You're trying to fucking, get us to go back to the old lifestyle where women had no rights and that kind of crap. And I don't know why I will never misunderstand this concept. It's just like saying, you know what, you think that in avoidance of getting to the point that your government will get you to stop protecting yourself, saying, you know what, I think that I should be able to go around with a machine gun. You think that you should be able to go around with a machine gun in your hand, and everybody in society should carry a machine gun in their hand because we need to exercise our rights. I don't understand how, mainly, sleeping around, especially for women, how feminism comes to translate into fucking. How does that translate? Translate into, or how does that, how does promiscuity of a woman, how is this her dressing like a slut and sleeping around and supposedly, yes, embracing this freedom of doing such a thing, translates into women's rights and equality and their equal rights and, yes, feminism. How does that? I don't understand this concept. How do you argue for this? Anyways, and for just for the record, this again, I know the bitches actually quite have a clear picture of this, but just for the fucking sake of the argument, let me add this one final thing. Here's the thing about the woman's promiscuity versus a guy. Okay, I don't know how it feels to you as a woman if you think a guy you're fucking having a relationship with and actually have some feelings for, let's put it that way. I'm not talking about necessarily how long your relationship is, but you actually have some feelings for and you want to stay with him, so you continue experiencing that kind of a love and beautiful feelings with that guy. I don't know, how does that make you feel? Like if you think that guy actually had sex with some other girls, how does that make you feel? But here's one thing, as a guy, I can tell you that the second that I find out that a girl is not she's not a virgin, meaning she fucking slept under somebody else, that fucks my brains out, man. It's very hard for a sane-minded man to imagine that a woman that he's actually just about to have a romantic relationship and further a intimate relationship actually once was, it's a very disturbing. It's a very disturbing phrase for a right-headed man. I know in America these concepts then again have faded away. But this It's the truth of it. Now, then again, here's the thing about it. If you ask me, if I know a girl, she was in a committed relationship, you know, how do you say that? She was married to a guy and she divorced him, you know, something like that, for, then again, extenuating circumstance. So basically, you know, it's a simple concept. Things don't work out, and it's okay. That's perfectly fine, because it happens, you know. And marriage is not a joke. You know, you have to share a room, a house, a, you know, common spot, and quite an intimate space with somebody else. You know, and that person would have also influence around people matter to you as well. Your children, you know, your parents. Hi, how are you, sir? And so forth, you know. So a lot of things, you know. It's a whole range of things, basically. So how the F you say this shit? So yeah, it's hard. Now, then again, if a female was in that kind of a thing, it would be a different mindset to him and say, you know what, that was a whole different ball game, versus thinking that she just had some random girlfriend relationship with some guy, and of course the very first few days they slept with each other, or they actually met in a club in a pursuit of merely just meeting their immediate needs. You know, how do you say that? And then that relationship turned into perhaps something stronger, if there's such a thing. It's a whole different thing. Alright, man, I'm gonna cut it off because, you know, I have a 30-minute limit in this thing. So I'm still actually doing it.